In this video, I'm going to show you how to create quizzes, and I'll be covering all of the different functionality in our quiz builder, like limiting reattempts, setting passing grades, and creating quizzes that are uniquely generated for each student. So let's navigate over to our programs by clicking on programs over here on the left-hand side. And then I'm going to click into the program we have been working on. And now I'm not really going to quiz my students on a welcome module. This is available to them straight away. So I'm going to come to module 1, and I've added a few lessons here. And we're going to add a new lesson, and it's going to be a quiz. So let's add a lesson and select quiz. And this is going to be titled Testing What You Know About the Kitchen. And then again, I'm going to choose my instructor, Gil Bates, and I'm going to publish this lesson as well. And I'm going to hit save. So now we can start creating our quiz. And all we have to do is start adding our questions. So I'm going to add a question here. And I'm going to say, what piece of equipment do you need to actually bake a cake? And we're going to have our options. The first one's going to be an oven. The second one will be a stove. And the third one will be a sink. All right, and then obviously the correct answer is an oven, but you could have multiple correct answers if you want, or you can select just the one that's correct. So we're going to go ahead and hit save, and our question has been created. So I'm going to add a few more questions. Let's add another one, and let's say, what do you need to grease a pan? That's not how you spell grease. Spelling grease like geese, that's worse. There we go. So now I'm going to say spray and cook. That's what we've got here. But I shall also say that there is butter. And we can say, I don't know, what's something that's very wrong? We can say flour. It's not always wrong, does help. And we can say cheese. All right, so spray and cook and butter are going to work. So I'm going to say save that. So now we've got our 2 questions here. I'm going to go ahead and add a few more questions just behind the scenes so that you don't have to suffer through watching me add a bunch of questions to our quiz. So you've got the overall idea of how to add questions to your quiz. I'm just going to add a few more off screen. Okay, so I've added a bunch of questions now to my quiz, and one thing that I would like you to be aware of is when you create a question and you're adding your answers can be shuffled when they're created. So you'll see here we've got our oven. I put that as the first answer, and then the other 2 are incorrect. But here I've got butter and spray and cook. If you remember, I put spray and cook first, and butter second, and then cheese and flour. So those answers have been shuffled for me. So you don't have to worry about shuffling where you put the correct answer yourself. So I'll just give you an example now. Let's say, where do you bake? And I'm going to, again, leave the correct question in the first place. We'll see if it does it. So we're going to have the kitchen, we'll have the bathroom, we'll have the bedroom, and we will have, what's another room? A lounge. There we go. And then I'm going to save that question. So if I scroll down, let's see if it's done it. There you go. You'll see it's moved the kitchen to a different location. So you can always put the correct answer first when creating your questions so that you don't have to worry about shuffling where that is. You can always just put the correct answer and then add your alternative options later. So there are a few different features within our quiz builder. And the first thing that we can do is shuffle our questions. So if you want your students to take the quiz, but you don't want the quiz to be in the same order for each student, or you want the quiz to be a different order every time they retake it, this gives them a bit of differentiation between their reattempts or between students. So to do that, all we do is come here to the right-hand side and we say shuffle questions, yes. And that is going to ensure that these questions do not appear in the same order for each student or for each reattempt of this quiz. And we can also limit the questions. So if you're actually wanting to create a quiz that is unique to each student, you could load 100 questions into this quiz and then limit it to 10 questions per student and make sure that those questions are shuffled. So each time a student takes this quiz, they're going to get 10 random questions from the 100 questions that you have put into the quiz. So each student will get a different set of questions, and each reattempt, they will get a set of different questions. So we are going to limit our questions to, I've got 10 questions here, so we're going to limit, and we're going to say that we're going to limit it to 2 questions. So we've got 8. Each time we reattempt this quiz, they're going to be different questions. We've got 10 questions for them to pull from. And then you can give it a passing grade. So if it's just a fun quiz and you don't want there to be a passing grade, it's just a, hey, get to know me kind of thing, then you can leave it with no passing grade. But if you want them to have a passing grade in order to move on through the course, then you are going to want to give a passing grade. So I'm going to leave this as 50%. You just need to get 50% to pass, and then, hey, we can continue with our learning journey. A passing grade is going to ensure that your students are actually learning the content that you're teaching. So you're not just giving them the content and being like, okay, cool, there you go, have fun. You're making sure that they are actually learning and applying what's being taught in the program. All right, so I'm over explaining a passing grade. Then we have our reattempts. And our reattempts is how many times your students can retake the quiz. So if you have a passing grade, then you're going to want to maybe say, hey, you've got 1 chance to get this right, or you've got 2 chances to get this right, or you've got unlimited times to get it right and to pass. If it's something very serious, you might want to limit the amount of times that they can take that quiz. And well, let's go ahead and limit the amount of reattempts we have. So if I come here and I say that this is limited, and we have 3 reattempts, so they're only going to be able to retake this quiz 3 times. We also have a reattempt delay. So if you want to make sure that these students are actually learning and applying what you're teaching, you can add a delay. So they take the quiz, they fail, then you say, okay, well, you can try again, but only tomorrow. Go review your work first. Then you can say that, hey, we've got a reattempt delay of 1 day. So that is then going to force your students to go back, learn their content, come back the next day and try again. And you can obviously change this to whatever delay you want. It could be a few minutes, a few hours, days, or weeks. So that is something that you can add there. All right, and then we just got our lesson duration. This is going to take 5 minutes, let's say. So I'm going to go ahead and save all those changes. So that is how you can create a unique quiz and quiz environment for each of your students. And I am going to show you at the very end of this training what all of this looks like to your students from their perspective and how it works on their side. So don't get too stressed about that. Now, I'm just showing you the technical aspect as we build out this program. So by the end of this training series, you should be able to build out an entire program just following these videos, and everything is going to work the way that you want it to. So don't worry, I'm going to show you how this works at the very end of this training series. And before I move on, I am actually going to change this reattempt delay to simply be 1 minute, so that when I show you how it works, we don't have to wait a day. So I'm just going to go ahead and save those changes as well. So now that we know how to create quizzes, in the next video I'm going to be going over some of the more advanced features in the program builder, like how to create bonus modules, delay module releases, and force completion program order. I'm also going to show you how to limit access of specific modules to specific users, like VIPs and things like that. So I'll see you there.